So what would make today fun for you? Hi, I'm Charlie McKeever, your Happy Man coach, and I ask this of myself all the time. What would make today fun for you? See, there was a time in my marriage where I was dependent on my wife to entertain me. I was dependent on her to keep me company. I was dependent on her to make me feel better. And I would go to her and I'd say, "Hey, what do you want to do today? Hey, let's go. Let's do something fun today." And she would say, "Okay, well, what do you want to do?" And then I wouldn't know what that was. I was like, "I don't know. I just want to do something fun today." I'd have a desire to have an energy to have something that I would want fulfilled, but that I would want somebody else to be responsible for it. I'd want somebody else to come up with the ideas, someone else to kind of lead. But that left me dependent. And then I would be like, "No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do that." So I put my wife in a place of coming up with ideas to entertain me or make me feel better, right? Less bored, or maybe even feel like I was worth spending time with, worth hanging out with. And then I would shoot down those ideas. I'd be like, "No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't." That would just put her in this place of frustration and confusion, and kind of in a place of codependency, really, because if I was not in a good mood, if I wasn't, if I was bored, or if I was in kind of a sour mood that day, then she would have to deal with that. She would try to manage my emotional state by coming up with ideas and things like that. And just around and around we would go, And what I really hadn't learned at that point, what I hadn't become aware of, is just how much I was putting on her, how much I was making her responsible. Again, I've said it several times in this video already, making her responsible for my happiness, and not knowing even for myself what that was, what that looked like, what I wanted to do. But when I started saying, "Hold on, let me take ownership of my happiness. Let me come up with some ideas. Let me invite her into something that I want to do. Let me say that if I'm going to go do this thing, and if she doesn't want to join me, I'm still going to go do it. I know that this is something that I'm interested in, and that I'm valuing me." See, the problem was that when I was asking her to be responsible for my happiness, I wasn't even valuing myself enough to want to hang out with me. Meaning that I always wanted her to do something. I always wanted her to come up with ideas. I always wanted her to want to do something with me. And when she didn't or couldn't, then I would build on my story and say, "Oh, well, I must not be important enough to hang out with." But here's the problem, is that I wasn't even wanting to hang out with me. I wasn't wanting to do things alone, right? I was saying I need somebody else to want to do something with me so that I can feel valuable, so I can feel important, so I can feel connected, so I can feel like we have an intimacy in our relationship. But I wasn't even wanting to hang out with me. So that's a weird sort of thing that we do, where we want someone else to value us, but we're not valuing ourselves. So this is where we really have to do. What would make today fun for you? That's the question, right? What would make today fun for you? And really think about that, and think about whether or not you really need somebody to go with you or not, or is this something that you can just do by yourself? And if you can't do it by yourself, if you don't want to do it by yourself, if doing it by yourself makes you feel sad, like somehow, "Oh, I don't have anybody to hang out with, I have to do this by myself," that's a story. It's a story that we're telling ourselves, and we want to really talk about why we're believing these stories, these low value stories about ourselves, and why we're making someone else responsible for our happiness. So if this sounds familiar, if any of this hits home for you, go to happymancoaching.com and book a call with me. Let's have a phone call. Let's talk about these types of things, because a lot of times when we can bring an awareness to that conversation in your head, when we can really kind of peel back the onion and see the layers of this, and see that there's something, but then there's something else behind that, there's something else behind that, then we can really get down to this point where we can say, "Oh, you know what? I'm feeling devalued. I'm feeling disconnected because I'm not valuing myself. I'm feeling disconnected from myself. I'm telling myself a story about myself. I'm telling myself a story about her. I'm telling myself a story about our relationship. I'm assigning meaning to all of this, and I've just agreed to it all, and it's all a low value story. But when I have a better story, when I have a better understanding, when I have a better understanding of my value and worth, and what it means to hang out with me and spend time with me, and what it is that I like to do, and where I like to and where I like to go, and who I like to invite with me, and all of that stuff, then you hear the excitement in my voice, how we start to be like, man, I'm really excited to get out there and do things and have experiences and have some fun, right? To have some fun. Because a lot of times what we're doing is guys, is we're working all the time, right? We're working all the time, we're paying bills, we're mowing the lawn, driving kids all over the place, and we're not having any fun. And then we're asking somebody else to save us, somebody else to be responsible for our happiness, somebody else to make life fun for us. And we have to be able to do that for ourselves. In fact, other people are struggling. Your wife, a lot of times, our wives are struggling. You know, she's not happy either. And when we can invite her into some joy, invite her into some happiness, and not make her solely responsible for our happiness, right? Now we have a whole different version of relationship with her. So happymancoaching.com, fill out that contact form. Let's have a phone call. You and I will talk. I guarantee you'll feel better by the end of it. And that's the message that I have for you today, brother. What will make today fun for you? I'll talk to you soon. Bye.